Expressing support for the Hong Kong protests could be bad for business. A recent tweet from the Houston Rockets general manager drew criticism from Beijing. And now the National Basketball Association's Commissioner Adam Silver came out and defended his right to freedom of speech. But now, China's state broadcaster has stopped the broadcast of all NBA games. For his views on the situation, we're joined now by global branding expert Steve McGinnes. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. Crisis management here for Adam Silver. He's headed to Beijing. How can he save the NBA, and should they?
Well, that's a very good question. Should he apologize? Should he make peace with the Chinese authorities? Okay, the NBA-China deal is big for the NBA. It's $1.5 billion. And the Rockets are a very popular team in China. But this is only the latest of a lot of incidents. Cathay Pacific apologized for a tweet, fired people. You remember that Nike pulled shoes from their collection because of a designer. Gap apologized for a T-shirt. It's standard practice. A celebrity or a company says something, China doesn't like it, they backtrack. Everyone says, oh, this is a silly thing for the company to do. But what is more important here, the principle of the freedom of speech or placating the Chinese market and the money involved?
In your view, what is more important right now for the NBA? Is it the principle, the values, or the $1.5 billion US dollars?
Well, they're looking for growth. Every company wants growth, and China is growth. So the US market for the NBA is much bigger than China, but they'll have told their shareholders and their companies there's growth coming, and that's China.
But at the moment, China and the West have just two fundamentally incompatible views of expression of thought.
Yes.
But of course, down the road, it's not just about China. You also have other bigger markets. I mean, they broke ground in India just recently, and that could be a huge market as well that could replace the Chinese market.
Absolutely, but right now the eggs are in that China basket. And you're right, America and the West values freedom of expression, ability to say what you want no matter what. Whereas China's a concept. And it has to be adhered to of the idea of what China is and where China is. And it can't afford anything pricking that bubble. And no matter what the Chinese will say, and no matter how much fuss they can make, the NBA and these Western companies now need to think, well, how much is defending our right to say these things important to our customers in the West?
And of course, indeed, this is a major problem right now for the NBA and how to resolve the issue going forward. What do you think would be a common ground between the Chinese and the NBA going forward?
Right now, there isn't one. The NBA has 1.5 billion reasons to make China happy, but it's got its home market. I think there needs to be a third option by which China begins to tolerate some views that aren't aligned with what it says, whilst also perhaps the West needs to rein in a little bit some of its more maverick speakers, but really stand by its right to say these things.
Thank you so much for your insights. We'll be finding out more about how Adam Silver will be handling the situation in China very soon. Thank you so much. Steve McGinnes, a global branding expert. Thank you so much.